Let me say something that's going to bother you. Marvel has been lying to you, not about the timelines, not about the continuity errors everyone argues about online, about the soldiers. Every time they put Steve Rogers in that uniform, Frank Castle cleaning his guns, Killmonger walking into Wakanda like he owned the place, they packaged it as a hero story. Well, it's not. It's a trauma story. The military didn't create heroes in this universe. It created people who couldn't stop fighting even when there was nothing left to fight for. And I'm going to prove it, character by character, scene by scene. Let's start with one everyone always gets wrong, Bucky Barnes, the man they turned into a weapon. Before Steve Rogers ever got the serum, Bucky Barnes was already the better soldier, decorated marksman, field operator, the guy literally keeping Steve alive while Steve was still getting rejected from enlistment. Then he fell off a train, and Hydra found him. Here's what most people miss, Hydra didn't break Bucky. They erased him. Between every mission, they wiped his memory. Not to punish him, to control him. Because a soldier who remembers who he is will eventually question the mission. A soldier who remembers nothing executes perfectly every single time. In The Winter Soldier, that moment where Steve says Bucky, what's Sebastian Stan's eyes? Something cracks, not recognition, a fracture. That's not a movie beat. That's a dissociation. That's what identity eraser actually looks like. But Bucky losing himself is just the beginning, because the system didn't just take soldiers apart, it built them back wrong. John Walker, what perfect conditioning actually produces? 3 medals of honor. Nobody in MCU history matches that record. Not Rogers, not Rhodey, not Sam Wilson, nobody. Walker did everything the military asked, was exceptional at it, followed orders, performed under impossible pressure, never broke under the system. Until Lamar died. The second Carly kills his partner in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's over. No hesitation. He picks up Steve's shield, a symbol built on mercy, and beats a man to death on a public street, on camera. And here's what that scene is actually showing you. The military trained Walker to eliminate threats and win objective. Nobody trained him to process laws. Nobody taught him what to do when the mission gets personal. That gap between exceptional soldier and functional human being, that's exactly where John Walker breaks. And that gap, the military doesn't see it as a flaw, it sees it as a failure. Frank Castle, the soldier who never actually came home, multiple combat tours, Force Recon Marine, one of the most lethal operators the Corps ever produced. Then he came home, and his family was killed in a park on a Sunday afternoon. Most people think Punisher is a grief story, a father taking revenge. Well, that's wrong. The Punisher is what PTSD looks like when it's been given a mission statement. Watch the Netflix series carefully. Kessel can't sit with his back to a door. He maps every room he enters. He categorizes every person he meets by the threat level. He doesn't sleep. He positions. He never left the battlefield. He brought it home with him. And when his family died, the one thing that was supposed to make all the violence worth it, his brain didn't collapse. It just redirected. The Punisher isn't a revenge. It's a soldier who ran out of reasons to stand down. Now let's talk about the one where military didn't just take her apart. It stole who she was before she even had a chance to remember. Carol Danvers. When identity is the weapon. Carol Danvers, test pilot, top of her class, Air Force. The Kree didn't just capture her. They renamed her. Worse. New history, new mission, new memories. And every single time in Captain Marvel, a real memory starts to surface. Yon Rugg shuts it down. You are unstable. Control your emotions. Be the warrior we made you. That is not alien science fiction. That is documented psychological tactic used on a real soldiers. You isolate them from their pre-service identity. You make the mission their entire personality. And you make them believe that questioning the mission is personal weakness. The Kree didn't discover a super weapon in a Carol Danvers, they built one, using her own life against her. And the moment she remembers who she actually was, not worse, not their instrument, the power that comes out wasn't from the Tesseract. It was always hers. They just buried it. And then there's the case that makes all of this look like a warm-up. Killmonger, the most efficient casualty. MIT graduate, Navy SEAL, Black Ops, classified kill count. By any objective metric, Eric Killmonger is the most operationally capable character in the entire MCU. And here's the part Black Panther really wants you to sit with. His Black Ops mission, the ones that made him ghost, were designed to destabilize African nations, to create the kind of chaos that benefits American foreign policy. He says it himself. I've seen how colonizers think. They use weapons and people like they belong to them. He's not just talking about Wakanda, he's talking about himself. The military found a man with genius level intelligence, generational trauma, and a completely legitimate grievance, and sharpened him into a precision instrument. Then aimed him at the world. He didn't become a villain because he was broken. He became a villain because he understood exactly what they built him to do and decided to use it on his own terms. But nobody on this entire list shows you the full cost like this man, the soldier who outlived everything. Logan fought in the Civil War, 1861, then World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and beyond. He is not a super soldier built for one specific conflict. He is a man who outlived every cause he ever fought for, every person he ever fought beside, and the Weapon X found him, bolted metal to his bones, wiped his memory, because what do you do with an asset you cannot retire? You reboot them. In Logan 2017, you don't see a hero. You see a man hiding in Mexico, driving a limo slowly being poisoned by the same metal that was supposed to make him invincible. He doesn't want to fight anymore. He's been fighting for 150 years. The tragedy of Logan isn't his death. It's every year before it, every mission that took one more thing from a man who had already given everything. The military doesn't have a plan for that. It never did. So let's pull back and look at what all of this actually adds up to. Look at the full picture. Bucky identity erased to manufacture obedience. Walker conditioned to perform, never to feel. Castle, PTSD redirected into a second private war. Danvers, psychological manipulation disguised as a warrior training. Killmonger, weaponized, used, and discarded. Logan, deployed until there was nothing left to take. Marvel didn't just make action movies about soldiers. They made films about what happens to soldiers after, what the system produces on the inside, who you become when the thing that gave your life structure, the mission, the uniform, the unit is suddenly gone. And the question every single one of these characters is carrying, the one none of them can fully answer, is this: who are you when you are not fighting? Because for most of them, fighting is all they were ever taught to be. And here's the thing, this isn't a fiction. There are 22 million veterans in the United States right now, today. 22 million people trained to operate in extreme conditions, told the mission came first, who came home to a world that expected them to just readjust. And a significant number of them are carrying the exact same question these characters are asking. What do you do with everything the uniform left behind? Marvel wrapped it in a vibranium and cinematic scores and $1 billion CGI battles, but what they were drawing through Bucky's fractured eyes, Walker's public breakdown, Castle redirected grief, Logan's slow death in the desert, was the oldest story soldiers have ever lived. Different worlds, same human flaws, same cost. See you in the next one.